Yesterday, I made a video and I received a comment that said that Faruzan is actually worth using even at C0 for your animal DPS because she has animal res shred in her kit. And I wanted to go over it because I've had Faruzan on lower cons for like a very long time. I got her C6 on Xianyun's banner, but like, you know, I got her in 3.3, which meant that I actually had to play her at the low cons for like a year, right? And I learned a lot in that year. First of all, that her ER requirement is very high. I think everybody knows that. It's to the point in which like she's actually known for her high ER requirement. Like people meme on it because it's like 300 or something like that. I don't think it's 300, but like it's definitely way too high to the point in which it feels like you almost never have her burst unless you build like a just an unhinged amount of ER on her, which is fine. I mean, it's not fine, but I just mean that, like, for example, even if we were to assume that she gets her burst every single rotation, which I don't think it's possible, I'll be honest, I don't think it is. But even if we were to assume that, then it would mean that she's generating 2 particles per rotation, because her skill, like the charge attack that you do after you use her skill, actually generates only 2 particles. And if she's generating only 2 particles, it means that also the team will struggle ER-wise. Like, it's not just her, because, you know, everyone gets energy when you pick up particles. So the less a character generates them, the more the team will suffer. That's why characters like Chi-Chi and Barbara are just, like, very unappealing. It's because even if you were to use them, even, like, despite the fact that they don't provide much, they actually drag the team down because they don't generate any particles. Does that make sense? So Faruzan does generate some, but she doesn't generate many, which means that the team will suffer to the point in which characters like Shao, which is the animal DPS that it is on my account, cannot burst. Like, he actually has to build, for example, like a 140 to 150 ER. Like, that's just crazy. Like, it's to the point in which you put Faruzan in a team, and because of her lackluster energy generation and her own energy problems, I actually would have to put an ER sense on Shao, or have like a lot of ER substats, and that obviously will drag the damage that he does down. So yeah, like it's kind of difficult to really encapsulate, to really figure out like how much damage you're losing because of that. And even if even if we go on the assumption that she does get enough energy, and maybe even the team gets enough energy, she still needs to do skill and charged attack to do so, right? Which does extend your rotation by, I think, like 2 seconds, or around that time, every rotation. And that decreases your damage. Not just that, but it also just wastes time in which like your buffs are like ticking down, right? For example, Shao plays with Furina, and like Furina's buff would be ticking down, and you are like losing uptime as you're using her skill and charged attack. The same goes for Xianyun, I think. I mean, I'm sure that you lose like some buffs along the way, because Shao's uptime is like very, very high, to the point in which he loses them even if you do a perfect rotation. But it's still worth to do, like, on-field him the whole time. Anyways, speaking of doing skill and charged attack on Faruzan, something that I had to deal with for a whole year of trying to use Faruzan, because like she wasn't working properly. I would usually just lot her out once I saw that she wasn't working, is that even then, like, doing skill charged attack is like very unreliable, because bow and catalyst characters in this game are like more prone to get interrupted by attacks. And if you get interrupted while doing a charged attack on Faruzan, then you might actually have to do the whole thing again. You know what I mean? So I said that you're wasting 2 seconds, like around that time, but it might be even more depending on like the enemy, if it's attacking you and stuff like that. And obviously, if you miss your charge attack, that's also really bad. Like, you actually have to land that, but it's fine. Like, assuming that you are not the one missing, something else that is something that I never see anyone talk about, but you can verify this by yourself in-game, is that her burst actually misses. As in, the res shred that she's supposed to apply with her burst goes on that triangular pattern, and like, for example, if enemies move out of the area, then they're not getting the res shred anymore, right? So it has the same issues that circle impact has, for example, like playing with Bennett and the enemies move away from your circle and all that stuff, like you just lose a lot of damage. But not just that, something that I actually tested when I used to play Faruzan before she was C6 is that she actually misses even if the target is standing still. Like, it's to the point in which, like, it's not even the target moves out of the way. It's if the target moves out of the way, and if the target is standing still. Like, for example, I'll probably put on the screen like a clip of me using the burst on like the first boss. I think he stands still for the whole fight, and like if you burst on him, like you will actually see that the arrows, the one that the visual effect for the res shred actually disappear for a while, like for like a second or two, which means that like this res shred that she's supposed to give is also going on and off without the C6. Because in case you don't know, if when you get her C6, she starts creating like that effect on the enemy. She does like that kind of like coordinated effect, so you never miss it. But before C6, you can actually miss it, and it's something that's like very difficult to pay attention to, but it does happen. What else is there to say? Well, here's the thing. Even if everything goes smoothly, right? Let's say that none of the issues that I mentioned in this video happen, and let's say that you have enough energy, and let's say that your whole team has enough energy, and all that, right? Even if everything were to go to plan, so to speak, this is the damage per second that you get. This is the one that I simulated personally on Sim Impact, I think the site is called. I called it GC Sim. This is how the team performs, and this is how the team performs with infinite energy. With infinite energy, it does stuff a little faster, because sometimes it barely doesn't have enough energy, and sometimes Faruzan really has to like attack and do her Favonius procs. But even then, even with infinite energy, like this is the ceiling of this is the amount of damage that this team is dealing, right? And if I were to just remove Faruzan from this team entirely, the damage loss is actually kind of negligible, as in like. It is a big deal to lose, what, like 9 to 10k DPS? Just to illustrate how trivial her role really is in like my Xiao team, I tested with Anemo Traveler, which also shreds on her C6, right? When she hits her tornado burst, she actually shreds like 20% Anemo res, along with the element that it absorbs. And as it turns out, the Anemo Traveler variant actually did more damage, which was very surprising to me. But like, I hope this kind of showcases that, you know, like Locon's Faruzan is actually kind of bad. Like, I don't think it's really fair to call it a misconception, like that person in the comments said, especially because, you know, you do have options. Like, you could put like a sub DPS in that slot. You could put like someone else, like Zhongli or something like that. It's just, I don't know, she's not that useful, I'll be honest. She brings more negatives than positives, especially because of that energy thing that I said. And yeah, I don't know. I wanted to elaborate it, and this is the first time I'm doing like a post-commentary kind of thing to my video. And the run just ended, which is actually insanely perfect timing. Smash like if you actually got informed in this video. Smash like if you also got misinformed in this video. And